Hi, you're on the Reddit Confessions channel. She left the window open. It was raining. Not a storm, not a drizzle. Just that steady kind of October rain that seeps into everything. My side of the bed was soaked. And the weird part? Her side was perfectly dry. The pillow, the sheet, untouched. Like she'd measured the angle of the rain before cracking it open. I stood there for a full minute, just staring at it. I didn't say a word. I didn't shout. I just pulled the window shut and sat on the edge of the bed like a guest in my own house. The room still smelled like her perfume, something citrusy she used to only wear on our anniversaries. She wore it to dinner that night. No anniversary. No reason. That's when it hit me. She wanted me to leave. She didn't say it, but she made everything uncomfortable enough that I'd want to. There were other signs, sure. The phone call she took in the garage. The girl nights that ended with her Ubering home at 2 a.m. In heels she didn't leave the house in. The fake laughs. The sudden gym obsession when she used to mock people who counted steps. But this? The window? It was quiet. Deliberate. A message wrapped in raindrops. You're not wanted here. So I did what she didn't expect. I made toast. Poured a glass of orange juice. Sat across from her in silence the next morning while she tapped through her emails like I was invisible. Then, as she stood up to leave, I said one sentence. You don't have to push anymore. I'm already gone. I walked out without slamming the door. No suitcase. No speech. And while she thought I'd go cry to my brother or sleep in my car, she had no idea where I actually went. That's where it all begins. I didn't go far. Just far enough to see things for what they were. That night, after walking out, I didn't check into a motel or call anyone. I drove to the parking lot behind her favorite wine bar, the one she claimed had the best solo date vibes. I used to think that was cute. Independent. Now I saw it for what it really meant. I parked 2 blocks away, turned off the lights, and waited. Just waited. At 7:42 p.m, she arrived. Not in her usual jeans and hoodie, but in a dress I hadn't seen in over a year. The one I bought for her cousin's wedding. It used to be mine. The memory, the night, the way she looked in it. But now it wasn't. It was his. He showed up 7 minutes later. I didn't know his name. Still don't. Just his face. Tall, blazer over a t-shirt, and that awful confidence guys have when they think they've won. They didn't hug. Didn't kiss. But you could tell it wasn't their first time. She touched his arm when she laughed. He leaned in like he already knew everything about her. Like I was already the past. I sat there gripping the steering wheel until my fingers went numb. I don't even know why I stayed. Maybe I thought she'd look around nervously, realize what she was doing. Maybe even text me some excuse about a late meeting. But she never did. She was too busy enjoying her freedom. Freedom I never knew she felt trapped from. They left around 9:30, laughing. Laughing. Not guilty laughter. Not nervous. Joyful. She got into his car. Not an Uber. Not a cab. His car. And that's when I realized the worst part wasn't the betrayal. It was that she didn't think I'd ever know. She didn't think I was paying attention. She thought I'd just go quietly. That night I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there and realized. I had been erased before I ever walked out. But she wasn't the only one who could play quiet. Because I had already made a plan. The next morning, I did something I hadn't done in years. I went through her old phone. It was in a drawer in the kitchen, tucked under expired coupons and batteries that didn't work. She'd switched phones 2 months ago and forgot to factory reset the old one. I wasn't planning on snooping. But when I opened the drawer looking for a pen and saw it blinking with a low battery warning, I hesitated. Then I plugged it in. I told myself it was desperation, maybe even stupidity, but something in my gut whispered that she hadn't erased everything. And God, she hadn't. Photos were gone. So were messages. But she missed one thing, a saved voice message in her WhatsApp backup folder. It was 37 seconds long, titled with a name I didn't recognize, Brent July. I didn't breathe while it played. She was laughing in the first few seconds. Breathless, tipsy, warm. You're insane, she giggled, her voice lighter than it had ever sounded with me. Okay, don't say that, I'll blush. Franklin still thinks I'm going on a retreat with coworkers. He even packed snacks in my bag last night. Can you believe that? She paused, then added, I feel guilty sometimes, but not enough to stop. Click. I stood in the middle of our kitchen, holding the phone like it had bitten me. My knees nearly buckled, and I had to grip the counter to stay upright. I wanted to scream, but all I did was whisper her name once, like maybe she'd appear behind me and tell me it was a prank. that it was old, that it didn't mean anything. But it was from July. The same weekend, she came home smelling like hotel shampoo and told me the retreat had been exhausting. The same weekend, she said she needed space and suggested we spend a few nights in separate rooms. I sat down, turned off the phone, and stared at the wall for over an hour. Something broke in me that couldn't be glued back. But I didn't confront her. I didn't even mention it. Because something darker was growing inside me now. Not rage. Not revenge. Something colder. I was going to disappear from her world, without warning, without drama. And when she realized I was gone, there wouldn't be a single trace of me left. I couldn't sleep after hearing that message. Every time I closed my eyes, her laugh echoed in my skull. Twisted, taunting, dripping with contempt. I didn't eat the next day. I didn't even shower. I just sat in my car, parked in the lot of an old hardware store downtown, trying to remember the last time I'd felt like a husband and not some background character in her little drama. That's when I made the call. Not to her. To her mother. I hadn't spoken to Darlene in over a year. We weren't close, but she always used to say I was too soft to be in her daughter's life. I used to think she meant it kindly. Now I realized she probably meant I was easy to manipulate. When she picked up, I didn't even say hello. I just asked, "How long have you known?" There was a long pause on the other end. A subtle intake of breath. Then she said it. "Since March." I didn't react. I let the silence fill the space between us like water flooding a basement. She continued, her voice suddenly trembling. I told her to stop. I told her she was throwing away a good man. But she said she needed to feel alive again. Whatever the hell that means. It felt like someone poured ice water down my spine. I asked her one more thing. Did anyone else know? Her answer, talk to your mother. I called mine immediately. She picked up on the second ring, cheerful as always. Until she heard my voice. I asked her the same question, and she hesitated. Then she started crying. Not the loud, dramatic kind. The quiet, guilty kind that confirms everything before a single word is spoken. She said she saw my wife out shopping in July, with him, holding hands, laughing. She didn't tell me because she didn't want to hurt me. Everyone knew. Everyone except me. And suddenly, I realized I had nothing left to lose. The betrayal wasn't just hers anymore. It was communal. They all watched me water a dying plant and pretended it would bloom. I was the idiot gardener. But I wasn't going to beg for honesty anymore. Or dignity. I was going to take back my silence and make it louder than anything they'd ever heard. And to do that, I needed to vanish, not just from the house, but from the version of me they thought would never do something unexpected. By the time she got home that Friday, the house was already clean, spotless. My toothbrush was gone. My charger too. All the little things I used daily, watch, keys, mug, hoodie, vanished. I didn't trash anything. I didn't break the mirror or leave a dramatic trail of empty drawers. Everything looked the same, but it wasn't. I even took the batteries out of the remote. Why? I don't know. Maybe because I knew she'd sit on the couch later, flip through channels, and feel something was off. That was the goal. I didn't want to ruin her life. I wanted to make her uncomfortable in the one she built without me. No note. No, you broke me. Just absence. The kind that makes you second-guess whether you imagine the whole relationship. I watched from across the street as she pulled into the driveway, took 2 calls before even opening the door, and walked inside like nothing had changed. For 10 minutes, the house was still. Then the lights in the bedroom flicked on and off 3 times. Then the kitchen. She opened the fridge. She opened the closet. And then, I swear, I saw her walk out onto the porch like she expected me to still be watering the plants or scraping leaves off the windshield. But I was gone. Not with a suitcase. Not to my brother's. I had rented a small Airbnb an hour north, on a property surrounded by trees and silence. No TV. No signal. Just me, an old chair, and the sound of a woman realizing her husband didn't need to scream to disappear. I spent that night staring at the ceiling, thinking about all the times I begged for scraps of love she gave freely to a stranger. The way I apologized for being too emotional when she rolled her eyes. The way I tried to laugh when she made jokes about our routine being boring. I wanted her to feel that same kind of quiet humiliation. Not publicly, just in the privacy of her now too big house, wondering if the silence meant something was permanently broken. And when she called me the next morning, back-to-back 6 times in a row, I didn't answer. Not to be cruel, but because I finally understood she didn't deserve my words. And I wasn't done yet. By the third day, I stopped checking my phone. Not because I didn't want to see what she was saying, because I knew exactly what she was doing. First came the missed calls, then the texts. Where are you? I'm worried. Can we talk? Then silence. Then again, you're scaring me, Franklin. Please don't do anything stupid. That last one made me laugh. She thought I was unstable because I left without making a scene. Because I didn't fall apart the way she expected me to. It's funny how when a man finally detaches, they call it a mental breakdown. I didn't block her. That would have given her too much peace. I wanted her to stare at the delivered status and wonder if I was reading them. I wanted her to feel what I felt for months, talking into a void, hoping for a response that never came. Then, on day 5, she left a voicemail. Her voice was trembling, the tone somewhere between guilt and desperation. Franklin, I made a mistake. I swear, it didn't mean what you think. Can we just talk? She paused, then added, it wasn't serious. You're my husband. That one sentence broke me all over again. You're my husband. Past tense not included. Like the title meant more than the treatment. Like I was supposed to be flattered to still be her default after she got bored playing house with her backup dancer. Later that night, I drove back to town. Not to the house, but to the restaurant where she worked part-time managing events. I parked across the street again, just like I did outside the wine bar. She was inside. I could see her through the glass, pacing around with a phone glued to her hand. She looked tired, pale, makeup layered over stress. But she was still doing it, still performing, still pretending she had it all together. I waited until she walked outside on a smoke break, phone in hand, and I texted her one word. Mistake. She read it instantly, froze, and looked around. But I was already gone. And that was the moment I knew. She'd finally realized I wasn't coming back. Not just from the house. From her. A week after the last text, I got an email from her. Not a message or a call, an email. That alone told me everything. It was titled, Please Come Home, but the body read more like a speech she'd practiced in front of the mirror. I understand why you left, she wrote. I know I hurt you, and I'll never forgive myself. Can we talk over dinner? My mom wants to see you. We just want to make things right. Her mom. The same woman who knew about everything and said nothing. I almost laughed when I read that part. Still, curiosity got the better of me. I didn't reply, but I drove past the restaurant at the time she mentioned, 7 p.m. She was there, sitting by the window, wearing the same pale blue dress from our last anniversary. She had flowers on the table, my favorite kind, the kind she never remembered when we were married. And across from her, not her mother, not even close. It was him. I watched as she handed him a small box. He opened it, smiled, and leaned in to kiss her cheek. That was all I needed to see. The dinner wasn't a peace offering. It was a show. A cover story in case anyone asked where she was. She probably thought I'd take the bait, show up, and make a fool of myself while she enjoyed dessert with her secret replacement. Instead, I took a picture. Not for revenge. Just to remember what closure really looked like. Two liars sharing a meal over what used to be my life. I didn't confront them, didn't storm in, didn't throw a fit. I just turned around and walked into the small bakery next door. There, I bought a slice of cherry pie, her favorite, and sat at a corner table alone, eating it slowly. It tasted different now, not because of the flavor, but because I finally understood how much of my life I'd lived pretending things were sweet when they were already rotting inside. By the time I finished, she texted me. I saw your car outside. I replied with 2 words. I know. And this time, I meant it. 3 weeks passed. No more emails. No calls. Just the occasional text that looked more like a guilt offering than a real apology. I didn't respond to any of them. Not because I was angry, but because I was finally done. And that was new for me. I'd spent years making excuses for her distance, softening her coldness, folding myself smaller just to keep peace. But peace never came. Only silence, manipulation, and half-truths delivered with a smile. Then something happened that felt like the universe quietly nodding in my direction. I got a call from a former client, a woman I'd helped 2 years ago during a freelancing project. She said her company needed someone like me again. Stable, patient, meticulous. 3 words no one had called me in months. The job required relocation. Not far, just 3 hours south. A fresh start, near the coast. I said yes without hesitating. The day I moved, I left behind everything that had weight without meaning. I took my books, my records, and a single framed photo of myself before the marriage, the version of me that still smiled without asking permission. I didn't tell her I was leaving town. I didn't know her that. She made her choices. And here's the part one didn't expect. Peace did come, but not in a dramatic, movie-ending kind of way. It came quietly, in the smell of salt air, in the first time I slept through the night without imagining her next lie, in the barista who smiled at me like I wasn't invisible, in the sunrise over the water as I drank coffee alone and didn't feel lonely. I still get sad sometimes. I still replay moments I thought were real. But now, when I look back, I don't feel broken. I feel lucky. Lucky that she pushed me out of the house, because if she hadn't, I might have stayed. I might have never discovered how peaceful life can be when you stop begging to be chosen. She lost a husband. I found myself. Which moment in this story hit you the hardest? Was it the window left open, the dinner trap, or the voicemail confession? Let us know in the comments. We read every one. And if you found strength in Franklin's quiet journey, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more emotional stories right here on Reddit Confessions.